Hi vinyl community, Dark Dove back with you. Yeah, I probably am putting up too many videos of late. I know I only put up my Gimme 10 1984 response to Pretty Big Star there just a couple of days ago, but I have a lot of stuff to show. Yes, I know. This morning, the sad news of Leonard Cohen's passing, and developments in the US election. Of course, you all know about that. I won't dwell on those because I have a lot of stuff to get through, and I don't want this video to run too long. I'm going to show you some stuff I got in a record fair 2 weeks ago, which was during the Cork Jazz Festival, which is on here every year. Yeah, so record fair. There's one seller in particular whom I straight away went to because I've got some very nice stuff off him in the past, and myself and Ben, we both buy off him fairly regularly, and he always gives us a nice deal, and he's very fair in his pricing as well. But this time round he had a lot of stuff I wanted to grab, but you know, it was on a Sunday, it was getting towards the end of the weekend, and I was there was budgetary limitations, but I did pick up 3 fantastic items from him. Okay, long time want list item knocked off, John Cale, Paris 1919. I've been looking for this for a long time. So this is a original US pressing on Reprise Records from 1973. The disc itself is in fantastic condition. It did have sellotape on it, which has resulted in this horrible yellowy result. But anyway, yeah, this is a superb album, and I've been looking for it for a long time. It's basically superb minimalist songs from John Cale, and the title track is just superb. Interestingly, it comes with this little kind of some kind of promo insert thing about John Cale himself, which is nice. But yeah, it's I got it for a superb price as well, and I'll show all 3 items that I got from this seller, and then I'll tell you how much I paid for it. Second album that I grabbed from him was again soundtrack to the movie Zabriskie Point. Now, I saw this movie many years ago. It's directed by, who directed it again? Michelangelo Antonioni, who directed Blow Up. Now, this is kind of similarly. This movie is similarly exploring the 60s counterculture. Rather uneven film, to be honest, but anyway, let's focus. This is the soundtrack album, and this is released on MGM in 1970. This is a second UK pressing from the same year of release, from 1970. So basically, what you have here is we've tracks by Pink Floyd, who are referred to here as the Pink Floyd. Also, the Grateful Dead, the band called the Kaleidoscope, the Youngbloods. There's a very nice track here as well, The Dance of Death by John Fahey. And yeah, so there's quite a bit of psychedelia, and yeah, interesting eclectic mixture here. Yeah, I got this for really, yeah, in fact I got all 3 items for a fantastic price. So I'll move on to the final item. Now this last one, he actually had this in his bargain bin, marked at €3, and I said to him, because I said to him, are you sure this is, that you're sticking this in the bargain bin, that you didn't put it there by mistake? And he said no. He said, oh, it's not in very good condition. So anyway, Tyrannosaurus Rex, prophets, seers, and sages, the angels of the ages. Tyrannosaurus Rex, as you'll know, this is basically T-Rex before they became successful, basically, and shortened their name. So Marc Bolan and Steve Perrigan took. This is maybe their second or third album. I'm not 100% sure, but this came out in 1968, and this is an original. This is an original mono pressing, UK mono pressing on Regal Zonophone, and as you can see there, it is mono. Now this is quite different to what T-Rex would achieve more widespread fame for later in the early 70s during the glam rock period. This is very much kind of acid folk psychedelia, and I really like this album because it's a side to I'd never really fully explored that aspect of Tyrannosaurus Rex before, during that kind of psychedelic late 60s era. But as he said himself, the seller, he said that it wasn't in great condition, so he put it in the bargain section, basically going for almost next to nothing. I mean, it has been played. I mean, it has been played quite a bit, but it's really, I played it. It sounds perfectly fine to me. I mean, there's not a whole lot of crackle or pops or anything. I mean, it's perfectly playable, and it's quite, it is an original mono pressing, and it's, it is quite collectible. So I got like the sleeve is a little bit rough as well, but I mean, like, nothing. It's basically what you'd expect from a nearly 50-year-old album, basically. So I got all three of these. John Cale Paris 1919, Zabriskie Point, and Tyrannosaurus Rex. All three of them for €20. So that is, again, I've explained the exchange rate before. It's almost identical to $20. So yeah, absolutely superb price. And as I said, he's a great seller, and I've got some really good bargains from him in the past, and this is no exception. So really nice bit of really nice little mini haul there. So there was another seller there, and I made a nice little kind of a haul from him too. All three of these are by the same artist, Leo Kottke, who I really only started discovering quite recently. I picked up one of his later 70s albums, his self-titled from 1976, fairly recently. But these are three early albums by him. This is his debut album. 6 and 12 string guitars. This came out originally in '69, I think. This is a slightly later repressing from 1972 on the UK label Sonnet, and quite reminiscent of John Fahey, but perhaps slightly more playful, maybe not quite as melancholic, but absolutely superb guitar work here from Leo Kottke. I picked up 3 albums by him in total. This is Mudlark from 1971. This is on Capitol Records. This one he sings a bit on this one. Now his actual singing voice is, you know, you kind of take or leave his singing, but it's really the instrumental pieces that are, you know, where he really stands out. And so as I said, I got 3 albums in total from him, or sorry, from this seller by Leo Kottke. Now I actually showed this as part of my reply to Diana's weird covers thread. This is called Dreams and All That Stuff, and this is from 1974. So again, this is entirely instrumental. Yes, wrong inner sleeve, I think, but yeah, again on Capitol, and yeah, and another absolutely superb album by Leo Kottke. So yeah, I got the three of these for €10. So very pleased with that. So yeah, I had a very fruitful rummaging session at that record fair. Very pleased with what I picked up. Okay, now I put up a video maybe about 2 videos back of some finds that I made at a charity shop which was holding a window sale. They have a window sale every year during the jazz festival, and I showed what I picked up on the day and some very nice pickups. Now I've made a couple of returns since. I made a return the following day, and I picked up another album which I missed. Okay, I'll show that to you first. This is actually I remember actually seeing this on the day of the record fair. I remember the cover, and I remember flicking through it, and I passed it over because I thought it looked like some sort of religious album. But I went back the following day, and all the crowds had gone, and it kind of died down a bit. I was flicking through what was left, but I had another look at this, and went through the song titles, and I noticed there was a cover of the theme tune from Shaft, so that picked up my interest, and yeah, so I had another look through it. So then I decided I'd take a chance on this. But yeah, this is actually this is by a group called the Nite-Liters. This is called Instrumental Directions, and this is on RCA. And I just have to point out, this is probably the thinnest vinyl record I've ever come across. It's so thin, it's almost like a flexi disc or something. But yeah, this is actually a superb funk soul album. They're a group I wasn't familiar with, but as it turns out, you know, they're quite, you know, they did release quite a few albums in the early 70s. They were associated with a group called Rare Earth. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, superb funk soul album, and yeah, quite yeah, I got it for quite a nice price as well, because it's, you know, apparently it's not too easy a one to find in the wild. So yeah, it did pretty well there. Yeah, I went back there again yesterday, almost 2 weeks on from the original window sale, and they were after putting out more albums which hadn't been there initially. So obviously some more stuff which they had in the storeroom, just putting out whatever was left. So had a good old rummage and ended up coming away with some more records. So I'll show you the ones I picked up yesterday. Now, I just point out, most of these I still haven't listened to, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, but I will show you. This is the only one I've had a chance to listen to so far. This is Marianne Faithful, and this is called Strange Weather. So this is from 1987, and it's released on a label. Yeah, it's on Island. And this is an album of mostly cover versions, and yeah, there's kind of a chanson kind of how could you describe it? Kind of torch. There's kind of a torch song kind of approach to a lot of these. There's covers of there's a cover of some Rolling Stones song. Which I think is this. Oh yeah. But by the way, Bill Frisell as well plays guitar on this, so so there's a pretty interesting lineup on it. But I have listened to this one, and it is really like this. So Strange Weather by Marianne Faithful. Now I went away with some other records, and I've been quite busy, so I haven't had the chance to listen to any of these, but I showed them to you anyway. This is a soundtrack album, soundtrack to a movie called Ladyhawke. I had seen this movie years ago, and Rutger Hauer is in it, and what's his name, Matthew Broderick and Michelle Pfeiffer. It's some sort of swords and sorcery kind of thing. Yeah, I remember liking the movie, but I can't actually remember what the soundtrack was like. But 1985 on Atlantic, so I'll be looking forward to giving this a spin and seeing what it's like. I grabbed this. I know that Ben Costello is a huge fan of Billy Bragg. Ben told me he does already have this album, but I'll hang on to it anyway. But you know, grabbed it anyway. Billy Bragg, Talking with the Taxman About Poetry, from 1986. What label is this on actually? Go Disc. Johnny Marr is on this playing guitar, so should be a good one. We'll look forward to giving that a spin. Kirsty MacColl, the late Kirsty MacColl, this is Kite, and this is from 1987. I'm familiar with one song on this, her cover version of the Kinks' Days. I remember that song when it was released as a single back in '88. It was quite a big hit single at the time. So this is the album that it came off. Kite, which is on Virgin Records, with Kirsty MacColl. Now, next up, I got a bit of a shock when I saw this. First off, well, I got a double shock because, well, for just spotting it in the first place, but secondly, finding out that there was no record in it. Public Image Limited, first issue, their debut album from 1978, and yes, it is a UK first pressing, but unfortunately there is a sleeve, but there's no record inside. I looked high and low. I went through. There was a lot of loose records in there, and I was hopeful that it might be one of them, but unfortunately it wasn't. I was looking inside the sleeves of a lot of albums to see if it had been misplaced, but no, it didn't turn up. So they let me have this for free. I took it anyway, despite it having no record, because I might come across a sleeveless copy of the album, or spot one on Discogs. So at least I have a sleeve to put it into if I happen to see a copy of the record going cheap. If there's one available without a sleeve. But it's very very disappointing to discover that there was nothing inside. Anyway, I'm very very pleased with. Oh, sorry, there's one more. I went back there today. And there was another one which I had overlooked, and that is this: The World of Them, compilation album featuring Them, bands from Belfast in Northern Ireland, and they were the bands that Van Morrison launched his career in. So so this should be pretty good. This is a compilation on Decca from 1970. The disc looks in okay shape, so looking forward to giving that a spin. Okay, that's it. Record Fair Finds, very very pleased with the Record Fair Finds, and also with my mini charity shop vinyl haul. So thanks very much for watching, everybody, and have a great weekend.